Hello, everyone. This is Written in the Stars, and today I'll continue to build my zodiac sign based fantasy world. As with the fire signs, some considerations for the air signs will be the biomes that I have already picked for the air signs, as well as the natural significations of each air sign. Since we are talking about air sign continents, where a lot of them are flying around and are associated with wind, some flying animals like insects and birds will be prominent on those continents. There might also be fast moving animals, as the air signs are masculine signs. Because of its association with the mind and with mental connection, intellectual animals and social animals will also be prevalent. For Gemini, we will of course have insects and birds. We have very clever animals, but also shape-shifting animals and some noisy and talkative animals. Here I am thinking of insects such as crickets, butterflies, or moths, birds like ravens for their cleverness, and birds like the kookaburra, which has a really funny laugh, if you know. And then the reptiles such as frogs, chameleons for their more shape-shifting abilities. For the mammals, we have monkeys, foxes, coyotes, and squirrels for their cleverness. And for fish, we have things like octopus or clownfish, which also have some kind of shape-shifting nature to them, especially clownfish, which can change their gender. For the plants, I am thinking of some mind-altering plants such as ayahuasca or magic mushrooms. They can exist both in Gemini and in Sagittarius, which are opposing signs. Then also plants that make or transmit sound. There in real life is a tree called quaking aspen, which like rattles in the wind. And I'm thinking of creating some magical plants that can emit different sounds. Additionally, there could be shape-shifting plants. There even are some in our world which are called Aquila plant. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but what this plant essentially can do is mimic the leaf shape of surrounding plants. For Gemini's natural resources, we have Quicksilver due to its association with Mercury, and for the wind association, because it is a air sign, I feel like Gemini would be the first ones to invent air travel, and they could also gain electricity from wind. They might also use animals for communication and mail system, or even plants if plants can emit sound in this world. Next up, we have Libra. For the animals, I'm thinking of very artistic or beautiful animals, animals living in partnership, and animals that are generally very harmonious and peaceful. I also think it would be interesting if some of the animals, as they develop a partnership, would start to resemble each other. So we might have an animal species that is very colorful and has each member has different pigments, but as they partner up, they start to develop the same colors. Then for the animals themselves, for the insects, I'm thinking of something like termites. They have a king and queen. Then for birds, something like a peacock or swan because they look very beautiful. And swans, same as penguins, develop a partnership. Reptiles that develop partnerships are shingleback skinks, and honestly, we could just use any reptile and adapted more so that they kind of partner up. Then for mammals, we got gray wolves, gibbons, and beavers. For example, beavers build a dam together. And for fish, we have seahorses, which like have this dance they do where they're wrapped around each other. And we also have French angelfish, which swim in pairs. Then for the plants, I'm thinking of a lot of symbiotic plants, and there's a difference between mutualism, where they're mutually beneficial, versus parasitism, where one plant draws from the other, and one that is associated with mutualism is, for example, foxglove. Then, of course, a lot of beautiful plants, such as bearded iris. There's even this plant called bleeding heart plant. It's a flower that looks like a bleeding heart, and I think it would kind of fit with the Romans association with Libra. Then we also have wisteria, which is very beautiful, or even rainbow eucalyptus, which has different streaks of colors in their bark. They look really, really beautiful. Then we also have plants that can be used for textiles or pigments. So a lot of like colorful flowers that can then be used for pigment. And in general, I think it would be cool if the plants and even the leaves of trees would be more colorful than in other areas of the this world due to Libra's association with fall, where all the leaves turn multiple colors. And then also, I'm thinking of plants that are making like gentle melodical sounds. And for Libra's natural resources, we have textiles, pigments, gemstones, jewelry. We could have something like partnership stones where two humans like share halves of a stone, and this is kind of tied to their magic. We could have stuff like alloy metals that are combined of different metals, and we could of course have wind energy that creates electricity at some point in their history. Then for Aquarius, I'm thinking of there being like multiple stacked ecosystems, which is actually a thing in the tropical rainforest. So there being like multiple different environments contained within each other. There could also be a lot of group animals, some electric animals that produce or conduct electricity. At some point, Aquarius might even develop robotic animals that kind of resemble the animals in their environment. Because Aquarius is also like a group oriented thinker, we could have like hive mind creatures. And because Aquarius is often said to be unique and strange, we could have creatures that don't look like our regular creatures. For the insects in Aquarius, we have bumblebees, spiders, and ants. Ants, of course, live in groups, but bumblebees can sense electric fields, and spiders use their nets to kind of move towards electric fields and they catch their prey in this way. Then birds, we have birds that live in flocks like crows, parrots, maybe even like geese. And for reptiles, we have geckos, which can climb because of electrostatic forces on their toe pads. And we also have the axolotl, which just looks strange and weird and looks really cool. For mammals, we have echidnas and platypuses, which both can sense electric fields, and platypus in general is just such a strange animal. They're mammals, but they lay eggs and they have a beak like a duck, and they kind of look like otters, and they also sense electric fields, and it just like the perfect animal for Aquarius, I think. Then we also have monkeys, which are animals that live in groups. And for the more unique animals, we have things such as the star-nosed mole. For fish, there are electric eels and electric rays, but also any fish that lives in large swarms could be great, as well as jellyfish swarms. I think jellyfish, I don't know if they actually can produce electricity. Maybe some can, but they just look like they could. For the plants, we would also have some electric plants which could create or conduct electricity, would have grouped plants, so there being different kind of groups within the rainforest where plants kind of live together in symbiosis. And we could also have unique plants such as the bedflower. Or we could have just rainforest plants like lianas, vines, epiphytes, and there's even rubber trees from which latex can be produced in the rainforest. And I think this would also be really cool. And lastly, for the natural resources, we of course have electricity. Aquarius would be the first ones to use electricity, and they would be the first ones to develop technology and like batteries, computers. Then we could have latex from the rubber trees, which from which Aquarius could create electricity resistant clothes. I think it's not in real life completely resistant to it, but we could make it so that they're magically stronger and more resistant to electricity so that the Aquarius people are protected. Then, of course, they could also have some unique plants and metals that aren't found anywhere else in the world. And of course, they could have electricity conducting metals like copper. This is it for the air signs. Let me know in the comments what you think about the flora and fauna, as well as the natural resources for the air signs. If you liked the video, please leave a like. And if you want to follow me on this world building journey, you can click the subscribe button. If you want to watch the previous video where I assign the flora and fauna to the fire side, you can do this by clicking on the video now.